Good evening, folks. This is the Daily Report with me, Victor Muyakane, and of course, Rhoda Nyamai on sign language. We have quite a lot in store for you tonight, and to give you an idea of that, here are the highlights. Tonight, authorities have launched disciplinary proceedings against several teachers implicated in inflating school enrollment figures by listing over 80,000 non-existent students. And detectives from the DCI recommend murder charges against 5 individuals linked to the fatal shooting at C&M Lounge in Kitengela. Presidential hopeful former Chief Justice David Maraga has signalled openness to work with like-minded opposition figures as the country heads towards the 2027 general election. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our broadcast tonight, and we will be looking forward to hearing from you as you give us your views and reviews on the news. Now, our first story goes like this. The DCI has recommended murder and attempted murder charges against 5 individuals, among them a senior police officer, or rather a senior detective. This follows a fatal shooting in Kitengela on January the 25th. This incident left 1 person dead and another critically injured, raising fresh questions about the circumstances surrounding the discharge of firearms during the operation. Faith Wangari tells us more.
The tragedy unfolded on a Sunday morning, January 25th, at the entrance of C&M Lounge in Kitengela town. What began as a disagreement quickly escalated into a deadly confrontation between Joseph Casio and Kevin Maseli and a group that included a senior officer attached to the DCI, who was also reportedly in the company of 3 other officers at the time of the incident. While Joseph remains hospitalized in stable condition, Kevin's condition deteriorated and later succumbed to his injuries days after the shooting. In the aftermath, 11 witnesses recorded statements, and among them, the implicated senior DCI, who claimed he discharged his weapon in an attempt to quell a violent brawl that had erupted at the bar. However, ballistics findings and bullet trajectory analysis reportedly contradicted that account. The DCI has since confirmed the 3 firearms were confiscated, 2 belonging to the police officer and 1 to a licensed civilian. Crucial CCTV footage from the lounge proved instrumental in reconstructing the chaotic sequence of events. The investigation file has now been forwarded to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, with recommendations that 5 suspects face murder and attempted murder charges. As the legal process unfolds, families, residents, and the wider public now await justice. Faith Wangari for TV47.
In other news, a post-mortem examination has revealed that 14-year-old Moses Onyoni, a grade 8 student at Moi Comprehensive School in Nakuru, died due to failure of blood circulation caused by cardiac arrest. The examination was conducted at the Nakuru PGH mortuary by the government pathologist, Dr. Titus Ngulungu, who also noted a minor injury on the boy's forehead. The death, which occurred under unclear circumstances, has raised concern among family members who are now demanding greater transparency from the school. Take a look.
After yesterday's back and forth over the death of student Moses Onyoni, government pathologist Titus Ngulungu has now revealed that the student's blood circulation failed, a condition consistent with cardiac arrest, which can be triggered by shock, fear or panic.
There was a circulatory failure, like the blood was not circulating well. Probably that is the reason why this child collapsed.
The school says he collapsed while being questioned among other students.
The class teacher noted that some learners were in class and others were outside. So he told them to go back to class. He started questioning them one by one. Why were you outside? Why were you outside? Even before he reached the 3rd person, the boy collapsed and he was at the farthest end.
But from the body you cannot know whether the person was subject to fear, fight, flight. I do not know. But you see, this can also cause such arrhythmias.
He was also found with a forehead injury which the pathologists believe may have been caused by a fall after the cardiac arrest. Samples from the liver, kidney and the heart were taken for further examination.
The body only reviewed a small trauma which was minor on the forehead. There was a small patch on the heart. I've taken it for histology.
Meanwhile, the family continues to fault the school management for lack of transparency when the members were called to the school yesterday. They also question why the school allegedly delayed reporting the student's death to the police.
We didn't understand the circumstances which befall before the boy collapsed. Or maybe that one is an answer that we wish to get from the school, or maybe from the teachers that were with the boy the last minute, because hao ndio waliongea naye mara ya mwisho.
Mike Chelo, TV47.
Thank you, Chalo, for that. Now, the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union has strongly criticized the Mombasa County government over the suspension of its member, Dr. Iqbal Kandwala. The union is questioning the legality of the decision and are warning, rather, of possible industrial action if due process is not followed. The union says that there has been no clear evidence that the County Public Service Board properly authorized the decision, raising concern about due process. It has also condemned what it described as a hostile working environment, including the alleged tribal and demeaning remarks directed at the doctor while on duty. KMPDU says that no action has been taken to protect medical staff from political intimidation, leaving doctors fearful for their safety. As a result, doctors in Mombasa will provide only minimal emergency and life-saving services. And of course, consultant clinics and elective procedures have been suspended, and a 7-day strike notice ending March the 3rd has been issued. All right, now fishermen operating in Lake Victoria in Homa Bay have raised alarm over a possible surge in accidents triggered by persistent heavy rains. This comes as the Kenya Meteorological Department projects that heavy rainfall across the several parts of the country is likely to continue into early March, marking the onset of the March, April, May long rains. Sheila Chalangat reports.
Here at Koginga Beach in Homa Bay County, the persistent rains over the past few days have left fishermen fearing for their livelihoods.
Na msimu wa mvua hii huwa inakuwa na changamoto mingi. Sasa mambo ya upepo mingi sana baharini.
In the past, prolonged and intense rains have brought strong winds, high waves and poor visibility.
Hii ni hatari kwa sababu maji natoka huko juu kwa ya mvua na ingia kwa maji, saa nyingine boti yako pia natoa maji kidogo.
The lake region is among the areas across the country that have already experienced the onset of the March, April, May long rain season. The Kenya Met Department says the heavy rains currently being experienced are expected to continue until early March. Other areas that have met the onset criteria include counties in the highlands west of the Rift Valley, the highlands east of the Rift Valley, including Nairobi, and the South Rift Valley. However, areas such as Mombasa County, Kwale County, Turkana County, Samburu, Lamu County, Kilifi County, and the northeastern region of Kenya are expected to experience the onset of the long rains between late March and mid-April. The Kenya Meteorological Department also says some indicators suggest there could be a reduction in rainfall amounts and an increased likelihood of dry spells in some regions. Fishermen in Homa Bay are now calling on their county government to put in place mitigation measures to protect lives and livelihoods.
Watusaidie na life jacket na hizi boti za kufanya patrol ziwani. Yani hata kama mtumbi imeanguka huko inaweza kuwasaidia watu kwa njia ya haraka sana.
Sheila Chelangat for TV47.
Suba South Member of Parliament Karoli Omondi has been removed as the chairperson of the Constitution Implementation Oversight Committee, or CIDC. This follows a major restructuring of National Assembly committees, and the Suba South Member of Parliament now has been reassigned to the Sports and Culture Committee as an ordinary member. In the same spate of changes, suspended MP Anthony Kibagendi was moved from the powerful Public Investments Committee on Governance and Education to the CIDC, with newly elected Kasipul Member of Parliament Boyd Were taking his place. And of course, Omondi has strongly protested the decision, accusing the Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah and Minority Leader Janet Mohammed of orchestrating his removal for political reasons. He claims the move is linked to his outspoken opposition stance and his recent appointment as Secretary General of Azimio la Umoja, led by former President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Now, after the elections, the members came to the House and they expect to serve at least in one committee as per the standing orders. So the Committee on Selection had a meeting this morning and looked at the reconstitution of the committees. And there were members who were sitting in 3 or 4 committees, Mr. Speaker, and we managed to reallocate a few committees to the new members who have arrived so that they can also, in line with the standing orders, serve in one committee at least in the House, Mr. Speaker.
I've been chair of CIOC, so have been serving only in that committee. I used to be a member of the sports committee. In the list that has been circulated, my name appears nowhere. And I know under our standing orders, I'm entitled to sit in one committee. So I would like to get clarification on that point. The second one is Standing Order 176.1. Discharge of a member from a committee. A party may discharge a member from a select committee after according the member an opportunity to be heard. 2, the party whip of the party that nominated a member to a select committee shall give notice in writing to the Speaker of the intention to discharge a member from a select committee.
And ask the Honorable Karoli Omondi, if you are to be discharged from a committee by the whip will do a letter to you, as you have stated, but this time you have not been discharged. That position has just been lost by the minority in that particular committee.
And still in Parliament, MPs have rejected a proposal by the IEBC to increase the 2027 general election budget by 20 billion shillings, setting a stage for a standoff over funding and preparedness. Of course, the Electoral Agency had requested 63 billion shillings to conduct the 2027 elections, up from the 43 billion allocated by the National Treasury. Mike Kagwongo tells us more in a story where lawmakers now insist that the Commission must work within the existing allocation and justify any additional funding.
The push and pull over the 2027 general election budget played out in Parliament on Tuesday after the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission IEBC tabled its budget policy statement seeking 63 billion shillings to run the next general election. According to the Commission, the bulk of the funds will go toward the staff wages at 12.4 billion shillings, voter registration at 6.9 billion shillings, and the replacement of KM's kits at the projected cost of 6.2 billion shillings.
Because we pay about 500,000 Kenyans to conduct elections for us. All those costs and training of those electoral officials take a big chunk of the electoral budget.
IEBC says more than 45,000 biometric kits have become obsolete and would need to be replaced at a cost of about 6 billion shillings. An additional 14,000 kits acquired in 2022 will be retained but upgraded at a cost of 175,000 shillings each.
As we also look, as a commission, we are very, very alive that we need to look at the ways of cutting cost. We all believe that an election should be as fair as possible, but within the minimum budget that can be.
However, members of parliament rejected the proposed increase, maintaining that the 43 billion shillings already allocated by the Treasury is sufficient to conduct credible elections.
We cannot provide 63 billion. We have provided areas where we can cut costs, and we want you to be part of the project.
We know that there is no petition that took more than 12 months, including appeal up to judgment.
Meanwhile, the electoral agency projects an increase in polling stations from 46,229 in 2022 to more than 55,000 in 2027, an expansion of over 9,000 centers as it seeks to maintain an average of 700 voters per station. With the budget now under scrutiny, the debate highlights the delicate balance between cost, accountability and preparedness ahead of the 2027 polls. Mike Kagwango, TV47, Nairobi.
Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna is fast emerging as a disruptive force in Kenya's political landscape, positioning himself as a potential third force ahead of the 2027 general election. In just 3 rallies across the country, Sifuna has unveiled the Sisi Ndio Sifuna movement, a people-driven wave that analysts say is challenging traditional ethnic voting blocs and unsettling both President William Ruto and the opposition establishment. Apollo Kamau reports.
Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna's ouster as ODM Secretary General, a move widely seen as intended to push him into political oblivion and pave the way for a smooth ODM-UDA pact, has instead elevated him into a resistance figure whose influence now cuts across ethnic voting blocs, potentially reshaping next year's electoral landscape, not only for President William Ruto and ODM leader Oburu Oginga, but also for the broader United Opposition Alliance.
Makosa yangu kubwa sana. Nimesema kwamba Ruto 2027 lazima aende nyumbani.
For President Ruto, the rise of the Sisi Ndio Sifuna movement weakens ODM and complicates the ODM-UDA deal, as the party's traditional support bases in Luo Nyanza, Western, Nairobi and the coast could either shift towards Sifuna or become fragmented. Analysts are already pointing to Sifuna as a potential political heir to the late ODM leader Raila Odinga, whose political career since the 1980s was defined by resistance politics.
You know, Sifuna is growing bigger than ODM. If he succeeds, as you ask, the first thing that will happen, Oburu will be swept out of his feet in ODM. They will take over ODM by popular demand. But after that is what is more important. After having taken over ODM, they could take over the government.
But now the NDC has been called. So let him come with his delegates and then convince the members that he's still the right person to lead the party.
Yamira!
The United Opposition Alliance currently deadlocked over the formula for selecting a presidential flag bearer and running mate, whether through consensus or a scientific poll, could also be influenced by the growing Sifuna wave. The alliance remains divided over the strength of its potential candidates based on ethnic voting blocs, with the running mate slot reportedly oscillating between the Gusii and Luhya regions.
Until the Sifuna moment happened, the stars had been aligned for Kalonzo. I'm not sure anymore. This wave will distort the politics. It will disrupt. You know, Sifuna's thing is disruptive. It's disrupting politics the way we know it. It is redefining politics. So we have to give it time to see what shape it takes and the impact it has on national politics.
Apul Kamau, TV47.
And we keep serving you politics. Here's another. United opposition leaders have condemned the violence witnessed on Monday during their stopover rallies in the Gusii region, vowing to continue exercising their democratic rights despite the disruptions. The leaders allege that police collaborating with hired goons to interfere, or rather police collaborated with hired goons to interfere with their convoy, escalating tensions during the political tour. Now, as our reporter Stanley Nyaringita reports, the coalition now says that it will seek the intervention of the Kenyan National Commission on Human Rights to address concerns over political violence should they form the next government.
Kisii and Nyamira County on Tuesday played host to the charm offensive by united opposition leaders, with peace talks taking center stage. While faulting the planned disruption of the rallies in the Kisii region on Monday, the leaders alleged that police were being forced to work with goons to unleash violence on Kenyans.
6 decades after independence, we cannot lose lives because we are trying to help certain people survive in their political offices as it is.
We are on course that nobody should threaten you, that you do not have a right to assemble peaceably, you do not have a right to picket, you do not have a right to hold public opinion. Indeed, we want to assure you that we are so focused.
I want to appeal to the police officers. We are also fighting for their rights. They are also under intense pressure. Their insurance scheme has been buggered. They are crying like all other Kenyans.
Nyamira! Nyamira!
The leaders further faulted President William Ruto for allegedly misleading the people of the Kisii region, asserting that the president has no intention of delivering development to the area.
Kenya inahitaji wachapakazi. Saa hii watu tuko nao ni watu wa mdomo tu, mdomo. Mdomo mingi lakini kazi zero. Tunawezaji mtu wa watu wachukue serikali wakute elimu iko sawasawa waiharibu.
The leaders will continue to drum up support in the Kisii region on Wednesday before heading to Nakuru County, widely considered President William Ruto's political bedrock. Stanley Nyaringita, TV47.
And Deputy President Kithure Kindiki has cautioned leaders against engaging in divisive politics in the Mount Kenya region, in maintaining that the area has historically remained peaceful during election periods. Kindiki spoke while inspecting road development projects in Kirinyaga and Embu counties, urging residents to elect leaders based on their track record rather than political rhetoric. Paul Kirobi with the details.
On Tuesday, Deputy President Kithure Kindiki pitched tent in Kirinyaga and Embu counties, inspecting a number of ongoing road projects. It is at this juncture that Kindiki warned political leaders in the region against spreading politics of division to residents of Mount Kenya region. According to the second in command, over the past years, Mount Kenya has never experienced politics of violence. He trailed his guns to leaders propagating lies instead of showing what they have done to the common mwananchi.
Tulikuwa na rais mstaafu, Rais Uhuru Kenyatta. Hakuna hata siku moja hao viongozi wakubwa wetu walitufundisha mambo ya kupiganisha wananchi. Walikuwa anatuambia mtu akule jasho yake kama kiongozi, akazane alete maendeleo, alafu akuja aombe kura.
Hii kiti ya deputy president is ours and nobody can touch us. Nobody can.
Kindiki's tour in the region is seemingly seen as part of consolidating votes ahead of the 2027 general election, and he drums up support for President Ruto's re-election bid. During today's visit in Kirinyaga and Embu counties, Kindiki urged residents to avoid leaders who don't show their performance. Instead, support leader with track record.
Mimi nitajitetea na barabara kuingia Kiungoni. Mimi nitajitetea na ile stima naenda kutafuta. Mimi nitajitetea na masoko ambayo tunajenga, ikiwemo Kiretiri, ikiwemo masoko 12 yale tunajenga hapa Embu County. Hiyo ndio kazi ambayo nitajitetea nao.
He assured the public that the government has completed debt payment to road contractors and the remaining amount of money will be paid once the roads are complete. The second in command inspected the ongoing construction of Gashoka-Gashuriri Road, an extension of the 42 kilometers road, utterly being constructed at a cost of 2.7 billion shillings. He noted that the project will enhance connectivity, boost trade, and improve livelihoods in Mbeere South constituency. Paul Kirobi, TV47.
Former Chief Justice David Maraga has hinted at the possibility of like-minded opposition leaders forming a united front ahead of the 2027 general election. Maraga says that, of course, consultations are ongoing as leaders explore a joint strategy aimed at unseating the current president, William Ruto, and limiting him to a single term. Speaking in Kathonzweni in Makueni County during his tour of the region, Maraga said that their shared goals is to unite, to ensure that the current president only serves one term. And the former CJ pledged to fight corruption decisively if given the opportunity to lead the country. He also urged Kenyans, especially Gen Z voters, to lead the country by registering and participating in electoral processes. Let's take a look.
Kuona serikali inaleta badala ya kutumia polisi na GSU inaleta mikora ingine wanaita goons. Mjue hiyo ndio mwanzo wa nchi kuanguka. Mzia mmesema sisi watu ya opposition ni wale tunataka one term, tujipange. Hiyo ni kweli. Wacha niwaambie kitu ambao mjui. Hii stadium inajengwa Nairobi inaitwa Talanta. Shilingi bilioni 11 zimepotea hapo. Bilioni. Sio Maraga alisema ni Auditor General wa Kenya. 11 bilioni. Kama mwezi mmoja uliopita waziri wa afya anatuambia 11 bilioni imeenda hapa na SHA na mna hii inaonekana imeenda wapi.
Murang'a Governor Irungu Kang'ata has emerged as the top-performing county boss in the latest InfoTrack survey. The Country Track Performance Index of 2024 ranks governors based on public perception of service delivery, with Kang'ata leading the pack ahead of several of his peers. Suzanne Locho with more.
In the latest County Track Performance Index 2024, Murang'a Governor Irungu Kang'ata has emerged as the top performer, earning the admiration of citizens nationwide.
I looked at these statistics, I thought maybe there might be a problem, and I needed to do a physical visit just to confirm. So I went to Murang'a County, unannounced, and I managed to catch the governor there. I said I was passing by, can I visit? So I visited the governor, and what did I find? I just asked leading general questions without letting him know what I was asking for. And as we were talking, Governor Murang'a opens a dashboard. Actually, his office is full of dashboards. He's able to see where every county vehicle is. He's able to see how much money is being collected.
Hot on his heels is George Natembeya of Trans Nzoia, with Homa Bay Gladys Wanga and Kisumu's Professor Anyang' Nyong'o close behind. This survey doesn't just present numbers, it tells the story of leadership in action, highlighting counties making real impact through devolved functions.
So for the group, the counties in the B, the C, and the D categories, my strong recommendation, is we do not need to go to do benchmarking in Dubai. We don't need to go to do benchmarking anywhere. And if we manage to do this, if we can get all the counties in Kenya operating at this level,
Kang'ata's leadership stands out, setting a benchmark for others to follow. Suzanne Locho for TV47, Nairobi.
And on that note, we want to take a bit of a breather. We will be right back with more content. Please keep it right here on TV47, the home of untold stories.
Of low trust, there's something around the definition of identity.
We can be a net exporter, but we need to start treating our farmers as entrepreneurs and creating an ecosystem around them that they can make money and that they have the right inputs.
Catch it every Tuesday at 10 p.m. on TV47.
Across oceans and borders, there are stories that connect us. Stories of friendship, purpose, and discovery.
In every embassy, behind every title, there's a person, a story,
a heartbeat that bridges two worlds. Who is Enwet Geiger?
I would like to know.
When I was a younger man, I used to sail the oceans.
Balozi Speaks, My Country, My Story, takes you inside the lives of ambassadors, exploring how nations collaborate, how cultures intertwine, and how humanity drives diplomacy forward.
Investing in human capital is the most sustainable investment that we can collectively do.
Because beyond politics and protocol lies the power of people. Balozi Speaks, My Country, My Story, where diplomacy meets humanity.
The world is facing so many environmental challenges right now. You might see some of them on your very own doorstep, like trash. But you might not be aware of others, like biodiversity loss. And if you don't know what the problems are, you can't fix them.
As individuals, we can do a lot to protect our planet. But as communities, we are even more powerful. It's not always easy in today's world to find community, but it starts with connecting, listening, and participating.
Welcome to Echo Africa. We will be showing you not only the crisis our planet faces, but the ways to solve them.
Ni mimi nilikuwa nasema niko na kichwa kubwa nika confuse.
Lazima nibembelezwe.
I love adrenaline. Ai, aki unachomwa.
Show mingi. Natulia buda tukuoneshe.
Love in the world is something you are not ready for.
Mazee issue ni noma sana. We can't look for that. Topic kutoka nani kwa issue?
Si wache waone.
Your attention, please.
Good morning, Kenya. This is not just a show. It's your runway to the bold perspectives and deep conversations.
We don't just talk about the issues. We soar above the noise.
From the runway to your living room.
We are bringing the nation's top stories, hot interviews, and a smooth ride into your day.
Right, if you're joining us right now, this is the Daily Report with me, Victor Muyakane, and Rhoda Nyamai on sign language. We proceed. The government has reaffirmed its commitment to reforming and strengthening Kenya's mining sector, promising clearer coordination and greater community benefit in mineral development. Speaking in Nairobi during an engagement session with the Samburu County leaders, Mining CS Hassan Joho and Principal Secretary Harry Kimutai said that the national government will work closely with county governments to make sure that there is sustainability and to clearly define roles and eliminate overlaps in mineral management. The two leaders emphasized the importance of community involvement, transparency and structured engagement to ensure that mining activities translate into tangible benefits for local populations. Samburu Governor Jonathan Lati Lelilit underscored the need for value addition through mineral beneficiation to maximize returns, create jobs, as well as boost economic growth. The ministry says that a clear roadmap will soon be unveiled to guide sustainable and inclusive mineral development.
Ordinarily, in a country where we take mining seriously, like the way we are taking in Kenya now, is that we will maximize on beneficiation. Tunasema hiyo mawe inatolewa, tunataka ichimbwe hapo, isagwe hapo, ikuwe separated hapo, and you value add to the last point where technology currently allows in our country or in the global space.
We at the national government who are mandated to perform the functions of mining and developing the mining sector is one, to uphold the law and to protect the community interest.
I had several sessions with the people who are interested in Samburu mining. And I've always pushed them back that I want them to start from the ministry, because the ministry is the eyes we have.
Now, over to some interesting news. A burial ceremony in Kibwezi was abruptly suspended after a swarm of bees attacked mourners, leaving more than 10 people injured. The incident occurred during the funeral of a boda boda rider who died in a road accident on Sunday. Witnesses say that the bees descended on mourners moments after the service began, causing panic and forcing hundreds to flee. At least 10 people were stung and later rushed to various hospitals across Makueni County for treatment. Reverend Dominic Mutuku of the RGC Church, who was presiding over the service, confirmed the disruption, saying the ceremony had been suspended until further notice to allow those injured to recover. It remains unclear what triggered the swarm to attack. Right, we shift gears to matters finance, and the country's pension sector is increasingly adopting income drawdown models that allow retirees to receive regular income while keeping their savings invested. Analysts and industry stakeholders say that the shift reflects a growing focus on the decumulation phase of retirement planning, alongside expanded access through digital platforms that are making pension products more flexible and accessible.
Kenya's retirement landscape is evolving as insurers introduce income drawdown funds designed to provide retirees with steady income while preserving investment growth. The approach marks a transition from traditional accumulation-focused pension planning towards flexible decumulation strategies that give retirees more control over their savings.
We usually advise that for anyone with a lump sum of maybe 4 million and below, they take the annuity. So this product is for people who've accumulated 4 million and above and are looking to be able to draw down from that fund.
One fund in the market reported a net return of 15% in 2024 and maintains a capital adequacy ratio of 283%, alongside a 5% minimum guaranteed return aimed at protecting principal during market volatility.
As a country, we have moved seen some tremendous growth from 2000 when RBA started. We have seen moving from a voluntary contribution system to a case whereby we are seeing more participation by Kenyans in pension saving.
Hibak Said for TV47.
APA Insurance has launched a cyber insurance solution aimed at shielding Kenyan businesses from the rising threat of cybercrime. The insurer says that the policy covers risks including malware attacks, ransomware, denial of service incidents, insider misuse, and third-party breaches. It also provides access to its specialists, crisis communication support, and legal advisory services. This, of course, is targeted at both SMEs and large corporates. This cover streamlines quotation and underwriting processes, helping firms safeguard digital assets, maintain operational resilience, and meet regulatory requirements in a very, rather increasingly connected economy.
When you start a business, the whole idea is to create value. You now need to ask yourself, I'm going into the cloud. I'm telling people I'm building a mobile app. Build enough defenses. And defense doesn't mean the basic. So a lot of people think firewalls. People think the basic things. But get a professional who can sit down with you and say, let's spend 80% of your budget on these protections and 20% of the budget on the controls that give you cyber insurance.
Last quarter of 2025, there was 4.56 billion attacks in the Kenyan government, Kenyan companies in Kenya, which has increased from by 441% from the previous quarter. So if you think about it, it's a very big number. Worldwide, the companies like Marks & Spencer, which were attacked last year in April, their whole websites were down for at least good 7 months. The total figure at hand, which is what they had lost, is close to 400 million.
Nairobi's Eastlands corridor is witnessing growing demand for modern retail infrastructure within high-density residential zones. This prompts a rise in mixed-use developments that cluster essential services, flexible retail outlets, and recreational spaces. Projects such as the Manyanja Mall are positioning themselves as integrated commercial hubs designed to improve access to daily necessities. Take a look.
Looked at the traffic in the area, vehicular traffic, pedestrian traffic. We looked at flows, how to encourage more foot traffic into the development. And we sought to design a forecourt rubies that would enhance that traffic, and also develop about 3,000 square meters of retail space, which, like Eric has mentioned, we're almost up to 50% occupancy.
Now, if you like fruit juice, this is something that might be important to you. Del Monte, Kenya, has commissioned an 800-kilowatt solar power plant and a new individually quick frozen IQF pineapple and mango processing line at its Thika farm. The company says that the solar installation will reduce operational costs and cut carbon emissions, while the new IQF line enhances value addition, improves export quality, and creates expanded market opportunities for local farmers. The officials also cited government measures easing VAT on renewable energy imports, underscoring Kenya's broader push towards green growth and sustainable private sector investment.
So in this sector, one of the challenging issue or the business environment concern is the VAT refund. Because they export, they are mainly export oriented, so the input VAT they have to claim. And when they claim, what is allocated to them is not enough to sustain. So they suffer liquidity issues. So what the government has done, first of all, we've put the first intervention was anyone who has VAT refunds which has not been paid by government to offset from his future tax liability.
Now, with 16 days remaining before the WRC Safari Rally kicks off, or rather revs up, in Nakuru County, drivers are intensifying preparations on their cars. Our reporter Duncan Mutua reports on exactly how Karan Patel is gearing up for this year's event. Take a look.
Two-time African Rally champion Karan Patel has intensified preparations for the 2026 WRC Safari Rally after successfully testing his Skoda Fabia R5 ahead of the iconic global showdown set for March 12th to 15th in Naivasha.
In terms of how we're going to approach the Safari Rally this year, I think it's just like every other year. Try and keep it clean as where we can, keep the car on the road.
Patel, who will be navigated by experienced co-driver Tausim Khan, will enter the Safari Rally under the highly competitive WRC2 class, a category that has attracted some of the world's finest rally talent.
There is a bit of pressure on us. There are a number of drivers taking part in the WRC that are in the same category as us. So yeah, definitely we are under a bit of pressure. I think pressure is good.
This year's entry list features rally heavyweights including Oliver Soberg, Elfie Evans, Sebastian Ogier, Andrew Formax, Diori Novo, and Takamoto Katsuta, underscoring the global magnitude of the event.
With the rally starting in Naivasha and now we're not having the Kasarani special stage, it has become a bit of a longer event. We are doing a few more stages earlier than we normally do. So it'll be a good rally.
A total of 46 crews have signed up for the 2026 edition, which will feature a refined schedule comprising 20 special stages, covering a competitive distance of 350.02 kilometers across 4 demanding days. Duncan Mutua, TV47. Michezo. Duncan Mutua, TV4 Sports.
Listen, the rallying action was so good, he had to introduce himself or sign out twice. Moving on, and still on matters rallying, Kengen has signed a 3 million shilling partnership with the WRC, reaffirming its commitment to supporting one of Kenya's biggest global sporting events. The Kenya Electricity Generating Company, or Kengen, has also extended support to 3 drivers who are taking part in this year's rally. They include Rwandan champion Queen Kalimpinya, who will be making her WRC debut, Kenyan driver Azeli Ishmael, and experienced competitor Andrew Moiruri. The initiative highlights Kengen's broader goal of promoting regional talent while strengthening Kenya's position on the global motorsport stage.
WRC Safari Rally is more than a race. It is a playground where we showcase Kenya's innovation, resilience, and extraordinary natural beauty. Today we have deepened our commitment to this iconic event by partnering across the entire value chain, from drivers and world-class hospitality to media and immersive tourism.
It's not just another round of the FIA World Rally Championship. It's a proud symbol of Kenya's global sporting identity.
It marks a beginning of a strong regional partnership. I sincerely thank Kengen for believing in me, especially as a woman competing in a sport that is both highly competitive.
It is here, the passion is here. Together we can elevate the sport and build the next generation of champions. As we push for excellence on the track, we also embrace the future with driven by innovation and green energy, because the true
sport industry is really growing. The potential is huge, and having corporates like you sponsoring young teams, both men and women, is really impressive, and I see us going a long way.
Out of form, Tusker FC will be looking to return to winning ways when they face high-flying Muranga Seal in a midweek SportPesa League match at the SportPesa Arena in Muranga County. Tusker have struggled to find consistency this season, leading to the exit of coach Charles Okere, who has since been replaced by French coach Julien Met. However, Met lost his first match in charge after the Brewers were defeated by Shabana FC. A win against Muranga could revive their momentum. And elsewhere, Bandari FC will host Nairobi United at Mbaraki Stadium, while Shabana will face Mathare United at Nyayo Stadium.
Scan area, scan area. Over shoulder, move.
Europe's elite clubs return to the spotlight tonight as UEFA Champions League knockout stage enters a decisive round, with heavyweights facing defining moments across the continent. Spanish giants Atletico Madrid, English side Newcastle United, German outfit Bayer Leverkusen and Italian powerhouses Inter Milan are all in action, each chasing a place in the next phase. Inter have it all to do after suffering a shock 3-0 defeat to Norwegian side Bodo Glimt last week, while Newcastle head into their tie full of confidence following a commanding victory over Karabag FK. Leverkusen also carry momentum after defeating Olympiacos in their previous encounter. Action continues tomorrow with more mouth-watering fixtures as Atalanta FC faces Borussia Dortmund and Juventus hosts Galatasaray, and Real Madrid, of course, welcome Benfica. Well, that is all we had time for this evening. I want to thank you for choosing us to inform you tonight. It's been my honor to serve you as your presenter. My name is Victor Muyakane, and beside me was Rhoda Nyamai on sign language. From all who made this a reality, we want to say thank you and good night. God bless you.